Well, it's always been polarized to some degree. You think it's polarized, right? You go back, for example, to the 1800 election and see what the advocates of Jefferson and Adams were saying about each other. In fact, one of my favorite instances is in the election 1800. The sated Thomas Jefferson personally recruits a terrible scallywag of an editor to go to work for the Richmond newspaper in order to write the most excoriating editorials you could ever imagine, which were then rapidly circulated in papers all across the country about Adams. Afterwards, the editor in question cited, I hope not like the editor here in the paper here at Ready, but decided he wanted a comfortable government sinecure as a clerk in the Treasury or State Department. When he didn't get it, he began writing nasty editorials about Jefferson. His name was Caldwell, and he was the first guy to suggest that Jefferson had had a child by Sally Hemings as slave. So, you know, the payback time. But there is a problem with it today, and that is that it is unnecessarily rough. I wrote a column about this last week. I thought President Obama said the right thing in the University of Michigan a week ago Saturday, where he called for a politics of civility, where political leaders did not question each other's motives or patriotism. My only problem with the speech was I've seen no leadership in that regard. Nancy Pelosi called Tea Party members un-American. Harry Reid, less than a week ago, called the Republicans in the Senate, quote, anti-American, and said the only reason that they opposed the financial regulation bill was they, quote, wanted to continue to make love to Wall Street, end quote. If the president believes in civility and respect, then maybe he ought to discipline those people and just, you know, quietly call them in and say, hey, look, let's tone down the rhetoric. I mean, we had this guy Grayson, a backbencher Democrat from Florida, who said that the Republican plan on health care was, if you get sick, die quickly. And he said, my message to Dick Cheney is STFU, and had similarly, you know, incendiary comments. Even a minor rebuke from a lowly White House aide would have been helpful to create the kind of, you know, tone that President Obama wants. He also has a problem in his own shop. I mean, when Robert Gibbs goes out in the middle of this horrific crisis we have on the Gulf Coast and says we will, quote, keep our boot on the throat of British Petroleum, what good does that do? Aren't you, the president says, well, let's treat everybody with respect and courtesy. Well, we're in the middle of a crisis. What good does it do to say that to the people who work for British Petroleum, that we, the federal government, are, quote, going to keep our boot on their throat, end quote? And then the president himself. The president has referred to Tea Party members with a term that describes